What's going on, everyone? RPG a Day may have ended, but I wanted to keep making content along a similar vein. Quick, bite sized videos or tweets that, only take up about 3 to 10 minutes, but get people talking about their experiences or opinions and share positive aspects in the RPG hobby. Um, Something to intersperse in between my longer talks and my actual plays that just really gets the conversation going. So, the first question that I want to pose is, what is a character that somebody else brought to the table that really made you go, wow, like this is a cool character? Um, there's a lot of topics out there that are like, what's your favorite character or what's the most unique character you've played? But let's change the focus to whether you were a GM or a player, something that somebody else brought to the table that just gave you pause and made you go like, man, this is a cool character, right? It can be their backstory, it can be their build, it can be the way that they play the two off of each other. Like, hey, it's built this way, but I'm really going to role play it this way. So, what something that somebody else brought that you're just like, this is a really memorable character, or this character turned out way different than I was expecting when you told me your concept, or whatever it may be. I want to hear those answers. And my answer for that is, this goes back to when I was first playing Pathfinder. I was in Korea at the time, and we started a game between several of my coworkers. And one of the guys, whose nickname was Ogre, because he was 6'7", I think, and going on about 280 pounds. But he decided to play an ogre because the DM let him. And the character that he built was a barbarian druid multiclass ogre. And the backstory that he had was, he was a big dumb ogre brute who wandered through the forest and, was just a big dumb brute. But one day in a fight, he reached over and he uprooted a tree to use as a club to hit whatever he was fighting. I forget. And the tree was actually a treant and cursed him with a spell that said that he would try to give up his barbaric ways. Basically, he would start to consider the world around him and the impact he was having on it and how he was affecting people every time he went into these stupid rage fits and just started beating everything up. So he had a multi-class character whose two halves of their character were kind of at odds with each other. So it was definitely not a min-max build. It was very story focused because we would get to points where the fight demanded that he go into a berserk rage and just be the big brute with a ton of strength that hit things. But then afterward, his character would feel remorseful that he had a relapse and that there wasn't something he could have done. He couldn't have simply intimidated them away or talked to them and fixed it that way. He had to go into a rage and beat the crap out of them or kill them or whatever. And so there were several times he tried to get rid of the treant, but part of the curse from the GM and from the backstory was that the treant would come back. And so even though the big ogre wanted to get rid of stupid talkie stick that made him feel funny, it kept coming back, and he progressively took more and more levels of druid until the character had grown to a point that it no longer needed the curse to be a good person. So that's my answer for that question, because it's a really interesting character, and not only was it fun to play alongside, it really made me consider the way that I was running my own characters, because it was earlier in my RPG tenure, and at that point most everyone I was around was teenagers, and they were all playing, edgelord rogues and grimdark fighters and orphan rangers, and they were all very selfish focused, like, look how badass I am characters. And then you had this big sad lump of an ogre who wanted to be a better person because he was forced to at first, but then later began to realize that that was that was the right thing to do. So as he grew and he got, wisdom ability score increases and stuff like that, he evolved as a character. And it was the first character I'd really played with that even from the get-go, like, had a arc of I want to be better, not I want to be stronger, I want to be cooler, I want to be badass, right? So that's my answer. I'm looking forward to making more of these kind of videos and more of these kind of questions just to get folks talking. So leave comments with your answers, make your own videos, or hit me up on Twitter at OneCritWonder, and I will gladly check out all of your responses. In the meantime, feel free to check out some of my RPG a Day videos or any of my actual play. It is Tuesday, so we will be playing Tomb of Annihilation tonight, and if you want to come check us out, we will be streaming at 7 p.m. Pacific time at OneCritWonder TV. Have a great one.